Welcome to Boss Up, brought to you by the Weapon Marketing Bureau. Tonight we have Jennifer, the lovely Roya, boss lady herself, and your voice from the darkness, Kris, with special guest, Darren Ohata.
Yay!
Hey, Darren.
First time on one of our shows.
Yes.
And
not watching it this time.
Not watching it. He normally is one of our biggest supporters watching us when we go. And so we roped him into coming on tonight. So welcome to Boss Up for this Friday, April 17th. Hope everybody had a good week. We want to start off by saying thank you to everybody who's watching our show every week. And also we're going live every morning. Roya and I are going live every morning at 9:30. And thank you to everyone who's tuning in every weekday. So we appreciate it, and we will see you next Monday at 9:30 as well. But tonight we're going to talk about technical difficulties because someone's camera is not working. That's actually not our topic, but we're not going to ignore it and pretend like it's not happening. So here's the thing. Working is only as good as your equipment allows you to work. So, just ignore her coming in and out. That's actually what she does in our office every day. She pops in and out on us and spies on us. So I think her computer's just used to it.
Keeping it interesting.
Right.
But we are excited tonight. We are going to talk about something we're continuing on our work from home series that we've been talking about the last couple weeks. We're going to talk about how to work through the blocks that come. So if you're a writer, it's also known as writer's block, but it doesn't just happen to writers, right? It happens to all of us. So when you get stuck on a problem, what do you do? Darren, because you're the guest, I'm going to put you on the spot. What is the one thing that you do? Just give me something.
I mean, if it's a situation, I sometimes call a friend that went through a similar thing and see what her idea is. You know, maybe she has some different, perspective on it, and maybe that might be able to solve my problem. So that's one of the things I do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Roya, what do you do when you're like coding a site and you get like stuck on a problem? Because I've seen you like in the zone, like.
So I love to like listen to certain types of music. I've done actually some musician sites, and I'll listen to their music the entire time. I'll listen to like old school music. It's really weird, if depending on the people, to inspire me to get more stuff going through my brain. But as silly as it sounds, the number one thing I do when I'm in a writer's block or coding block or something's broken and I just can't get that one code or find that syntax error, I have to step away.
That's a really good one.
I leave, and then I'm like, enjoy life, or I'll open up another project. Set a little timer to go back into that project, and then I will go. It's actually Dayton had that, our IT guy put together this really awesome meditation video. It's like 2 minutes long, and I think it's just one of the coolest things ever. I was actually thrown back by it because he did such a great job. That's another thing too, like sitting alone in silence, just thinking, getting away from it, thinking about either clearing your mind or thinking about something totally different helps you come back. And then it's so funny because you'll look at the screen and you'll be like, it's right there. Why didn't I see that little extra asterisk or whatever it is that's the entire code? So
yeah. How about you, Kris? You stare at different things all day, and you have to. We're constantly calling on you to come with creative solutions. So how do you work through your blocks?
Well, two things, but they're kind of the same thing. There is this old writing trick that when you have a writer's block going on, you're staring at that blank piece of paper and everything. The trick is make a mark. Now that page is no longer blank. It's not that intimidating thing. And you expand on that idea. You just start, doodling or whatever. And all of a sudden these little stories start coming out in your head. Okay, start writing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good one. My favorite trick to get a block is to get physical, to like do a workout or go for a walk. And I never understood why that worked until I heard a TED Talk last year on it. And there was a scientific study done where they had 3 groups of people and they like divided them on to the people who were creative and not creative. And they realized that the people who were most creative were the ones who were active for at least 20 minutes. So, you know, we talked about this week on Wake Up Boss Up, Roya, about getting up and moving and standing. That's what I'll do. I'll like get up and I live in an apartment with stairs. So I'll like go down to find an excuse to go down and check the mail or go outside, just get my body moving. And definitely that fires the creative synapses in our brains to open those ideas up. So that's also when I'm usually like sending a text with some random message to somebody like, oh, what about this? And they go, what do you mean? Like, oh, just an idea.
And that's also goes with the second thing that I was going to say is change your perspective. There's quirky little things that have come up in my life where people will say, look at it from upside, get it upside down and take another look at it. Look at it at the issue that you're dealing with literally or at least figuratively from a different perspective. You change what you're doing, how you're doing it, something different, and all of a sudden things just kind of crack and it works.
There's a Disney movie that mentions that.
You jump on the other side of the issue. Is that what you're trying to say? Like if you're on one side, then you go and wear the other person's shoes and fight for the other side, saying, what if I did this part? Is that what you kind of say?
That is something that I do as a dungeon master a lot. Or as like a novel writer type of thing.
Kris is outing himself on Boss Up as a Dungeons and Dragons master, but he is
35 years, baby.
Yeah, really big Dungeons and Dragons master. He's also dating himself by saying how long he's been playing.
Oh yeah. Well, just saying dungeons. I mean, just saying D&D.
Just say D&D. Yeah. So if you're a big
D&D fan, is just some people don't even know what D&D is.
Yeah, then you don't know he's the master.
Right.
He's the master.
The most essential part.
Exactly.
So he has to say dungeon master, right? No, I love that though. That is really good to look at the other person's perspective. You can also anticipate by doing that what other people might be thinking. In code, that can be revealed as looking at the front end of the project that you're working on and seeing what is glitching. Because sometimes a syntax error will be showing up on there because it's and they'll show you where the problem is in your code. Lots of writers now will tell you if there's a syntax error, so it's not as big of a deal these days. But usually you'll find those. But as an example, same thing, looking at it from another perspective, like the user who will be using the product. It's the same thing when I do script writing for our contracts and our call center accounts. It's one of my biggest talents I've found through what we do in the call center is just building scripts that actually bring return. And, I test those out. I'll even call people randomly that might not be on the campaign and just try it. I'll speak it to people. I'll say it out loud. I'll read it to myself. And then the ideas start flowing because like Darren said, if you reposition yourself as the person that they're talking to, so I'll have somebody read it to me, I'll pick up on things too, sitting in that customer's shoes. So I love that piece of advice because it doesn't always happen right away, but now I'm like, I should start doing that as a regular thing where I'm sitting in the customer's seat having somebody pitch me before we bring it to fruition. So I love that.
That's actually part of our training program is to practice the scripts and everything and try them out. And it's fun if you're the person that is playing the customer because we always come up with weird creative ways to say no. So my script reading partner, he, bless his heart, he was like, I have this really great I'm like, who are you? I pretended to be some deaf old lady who couldn't talk.
Poor guy.
And I was just like, and he was, but he did tell me a week later he had somebody on the phone who couldn't hear. He said, I couldn't tell if they were faking it or they really couldn't hear.
Right.
It does happen. It does happen because, even.
Always assume they're honest.
Exactly.
They'll right along with it. Oh my gosh.
When I used to go to ITT, the teacher told me how they used to interview the teachers, and what the teachers would do is they would act like the students to the person who they're hiring.
Yeah, that's a
They
very
would
common.
ask stupid questions. They would just be totally. I was like, damn, that's tough.
To see if it
Yeah.
bothers them in an
Yeah,
interview.
they acted just like the students.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And some of those teachers that I knew, I was like, oh, that I felt bad for the interviewees because I know some of those teachers and I know how bad they could be, and I was like, oh, that wasn't easy.
Well, you guys remember from our interviews, and I'm giving away a little bit, but what do I say?
Secrets.
Pitch yourself.
Yeah.
People are like, what? Like, okay, all right, so nice to meet you. Tell me where you're from, and go ahead and pitch yourself. Why should I hire you? People are like, wait, hold on, aren't you going to ask me questions? And like, no, first I want to see how you handle it on the fly with 5 people looking at you, or sometimes 20 other people in the interview room looking at you. Tell me, why should I hire you out of everybody in this entire room? And it puts them on this. I mean, if you're going to be in sales, if you're going to be in communication, if you're going to be in the phone lines, obviously I don't do that with my graphic artists and things like that. But, you know, those that deal with our customers and clients and campaigns, they need to be a little bit strong and able to handle those high pressure situations. So
we practice those too. Still, every morning we have like our powwow, and that will come up. We'll listen to each other's calls and we'll critique each other and everything. But that's another good way. That's my other way that I like to work through block is I like to bring the problem to a team. And Roya, I told you when you hired me with this company, I've been doing this job for a long time. And I've actually been on social media since before Facebook was even invented, let alone like part of the public knowledge. So I'm totally dating myself. But actually MySpace, and then also there used to be Yahoo 360.
Oh, and then the AIM chats too.
And the AIM chats.
Ooh,
I connected with so many people through the Yahoo 360.
That's dating everybody here too.
Yahoo groups. Yeah, if you don't know what they are, you're probably my daughter's generation because she's like, what is that? But so I've been doing this a while, and I've been in marketing and sales and customer service like my whole life. As a matter of fact, when Roya said pitch me, I said I've been doing this since I said selling Girl Scout cookies count, because I think that's like my experience. So I've been doing that for 20.
That's why they have the girls do that.
Exactly.
That's the exact thing why they have the girls do that.
And I'm really sad that they don't, I mean, I know why it's for their safety, but they don't let the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts go door to door anymore, because it was such an education for me on how to talk to people.
Oh, I didn't know they didn't do that anymore.
No, they don't allow them because of safety purposes. But
that's because the parents were letting them go without them or something.
Yeah, the parents were my parents. Look, my mother did that. She made my brother was a Boy Scout and I was a Girl Scout. She made us take our things and we would have to go with each other around the block.
We would wake up as early as possible, so it'd be like, because it's polite to go at 10 a.m. Like you don't want to go, or maybe 9 sometimes.
Girl Scout cookies, you didn't have to beg people to come. They come running.
Yeah,
set a table,
but that was the thing.
Cookies up. They tell themselves.
People would already get to your neighborhood. So that was the thing, is that you had to get on your neighborhood. You had to get the neighborhoods, man. It was like trick or treating. You know, get the good.
My friend's daughter went to UCLA. There was a kid that went to the dorms. They tackled her.
Oh, I bet. Actually, the most successful Girl Scout set up outside a marijuana dispensary. No, in your town. In your town, Darren.
Yes, it's true. I've heard of people doing that, and someone got flack for it. The mother got roasted for it.
Oh my gosh!
But you know that girl won her free trip.
Oh, hands down, hands down, that girl won. There's no doubt. But that mother got roasted.
But yeah, so we kind of went off on a bunny trail about Girl Scouts and cookies, because it's Girl Scout cookies, right? But anyways, comparing ideas with the team, consulting a team, that's what I like about being a part of a team now, is I can bounce ideas off of it and say, hey, what do you guys think of this? Give me some new ideas, a new approach. That's another great way to work through a block, is to ask for help. You know?
That's one of the hardest things to do sometimes.
That's right. And that's a big reason why we do our morning meetings too, because I want, even when the new trainees come on and stuff, we put them in those morning meetings because I want them to hear those that are further on in their sales process, or have a list of clients, or asking questions about clients, have potential sales, and their strategy. We have, Katie, who does mostly social media, We have, some that attack certain online platforms, and then we have those that do what I think is best, is making calls and getting out there and going to events just because you get that quick, instant relationship built. But, with social media, it works if you know how to run that kind of plan, and we get to come in together in the morning and talk about how this strategy is working, what this person could do. And so when people do have that lack of confidence, that writer's block, or that, that initiative not to move forward, they will be refreshed by the fact that, there's some other techniques out there that they can take on.
Yeah.
So I think
they won't feel like they're alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not alone. There's other
Yeah.
people. So, and there's so many people working from home now that might feel isolated. We've said it before in tips for successfully working from home. It's get connected with your coworkers, something like a virtual office platform or a hangout chat or a group text or something. Just a way to kind of still feel connected is so important anyways, but can definitely help you through a block. So, Darren, do you have any more ideas?
Yeah, well, one of the second ideas I had was doing something that's, well, it's like what you said earlier. I just said don't do anything that's associated with it, with whatever I'm doing. Just come back, just leave it, come back. But I know that's been kind of said, but that was my
reset.
mind.
Yeah, it's a good one. How about you, Kris? Putting him on the spot.
Done writer.
All I was gonna say was that I used to do the leave it alone thing, and I'd go off and play a video game, but I'm the obsessive type, and I will end up playing 6 hours or more.
And now that's how we know how he got to be the master. That's how he's the dungeon master.
That's a definite way to 6 hours. There you go. Come back. All right.
A lot of writer's block. I'll tell you that.
I'm with you, Kris. I will get distracted by social media or something. So I schedule out my time, which I guess might be another way, is that if I know the way my brain works is I like routine, I like schedule. So I have my scheduled times that I do all these tasks. And having that deadline, I think sometimes kind of pushes your mind to just be a little bit more creative. I also am a big fan of waking up in the middle of the night and writing down the ideas as they come to you. So
a lot of people do that.
I actually have clients that will send me emails and text in the middle of the night or first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And Roya, the first time she heard me say that, she was like, don't say that, they'll do it. I'm like, yeah, I'm up anyways. I'll get it when I wake up. I don't always respond, but I'm, that's when your ideas hit you. So, but,
that's a good time to talk about it, for sure.
So we're going to wrap up the topic, but we're going to start something new here on the show. We're going to call the pat on the back.
Woo!
Because there's so much negative things going on in this world, but there's so much positive too. So, every week we're going to each go around. If we have somebody we want to give a shout out to, we're super proud of it. These aren't necessarily people that we know personally or that we work with, but so Roya, why don't you start with our pat on the back?
Well, there's a lot of people that actually come to mind right now because so many people are stepping up in their communities and things like that. So although we usually will take this outside of ourselves, I think that, I really want to say either, my mother, who works for Mercy Hospital. So she's doing everything, working from home, working long hours. They, furloughed a lot of the team. So she has to work double time without the overtime because she's salary. And, and she's just, even though she's working from home, she's working 10-hour days sometimes, and 7 days a week sometimes through all of this. Because even though they furlough some, they also have to run a hospital with an epidemic out, Right. So, anyways, I think her and the way that she helps take care of our family keeps us all together. She's like the thread that keeps the family together. And, I think even becoming the person that I am, she's helped me a lot too. So that would probably be a big person that I would reach out to. So I'm taking it a little bit personal with this one. And I'm going with my Jay.
Yeah, but you know what? We hear a lot about the essential workers that are in the hospitals themselves, the doctors, the nurses, the even custodial staff. But you're right, there are a lot of hospital staff workers who are working from home now. I know 2 or 3 people who work from home that are nurses and do the back end the admin stuff like your mom, and they are just as essential. So
she does all the software for their paychecks and benefits. So she's actually a developer as well. And so she has to stay.
So we know where Roya gets her skills from is from mom. Yeah, so shout out to Roya's mom. That's awesome. Darren, do you have someone you want to give a shout out to?
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
Probably the supermarket people, because they're like innocent victims. They're stocking, they're doing that, and they're trying to keep everything stocked and this and that, but they could easily catch anything. They're almost like bystanders almost, in a shootout. I mean,
yeah, and a lot of them make minimum wage. A lot of them make minimum wage or lower end of the wage thing.
They could catch anything, and so
yeah.
those people who help us get food out, keep the store stocked, the delivery people.
Yeah, especially a hard job right now is keeping the shelves stocked and dealing with
yeah.
all of the customers who are, because we're fearful and nervous, we're perhaps not our best selves. So that's a great one. That's awesome. Kris, what about you? You have a shout out?
Let me go last.
Oh, you're right. We're going to let him go last. Okay. So my shout out is going to be to a local restaurant in my area who, it's a family owned Italian restaurant who came up with the idea of giving away a free pasta meal. So they make their own sauce. They have pasta that they import from Italy. They make their own rolls, which honestly, I can make a meal out of their rolls. I will admit I have made a meal out of their rolls before. His plan was to give away 300 meals in 1 month. And so he put out a shout on social media, very small local outreach, if you want to help. And through donations, he has been able to give away 300 meals in 1 week.
Wow.
And he is hoping next week to give away 250 more meals. He said today that I have about 2,500 more kits to make and give away. So the community that's helping him, the town of Milford, Delaware, Mama Maria's, I'm going to call you guys out by name because I am so proud to be from Delaware and to see our community. Not that everyone else's communities aren't banding together, but our community is really banding together. He's also giving away meals through the school, finding families that need school help. So, and all the people helping him coordinate that. So, so that's my shout out is to
Mama Maria's in Milford, Delaware, you said?
Mama Maria's in Milford, Delaware. I have it on authority from a lot of people who are from New York that retired down Delaware or live in Delaware, that they have the best pizza in the state, which is kind of a big deal because New Yorkers are picky about
Yes, they are. They are.
I have learned, and I never understood until I went to Long Island and had pizza and realized why, because it really is good pizza. But Mama Maria's is pretty good. They actually make a really good gluten-free pizza, which is what I do, and I'm very picky about it, and theirs is awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, so obviously I tried to do gluten-free. The rolls aren't gluten-free, but that's my cheat.
Some of the things that we think that are pizza are called something else. They're not. They'll correct you too. Like they're like, no.
New Yorkers.
That's something else.
Yeah.
Like
New Yorker people from Chicago too. It's like.
Oh yeah, Chicago pizza's big.
There's a California pizza too.
There's a California
people
pizza
don't talk
kitchen.
about it.
No, people don't want to talk about it because the New Yorkers, the Chicago people be like, bleh.
From shining sea, we have pizza across America.
Frown upon it.
I just thought about how we're East Coast, they're West Coast. Like, what?
Yeah, from New York to California and Chicago's in the Midwest, we have got.
I know people who would frown on me putting smoked salmon on pizza, but I do it every time. I go to Vegas, I go to the brunch buffet, I will put smoked salmon on my pizza every time.
Nice.
That's funny.
Nice. All right. Well, we're gonna let Kris wrap
Let's
it
do
up.
our drum roll for Kris
Pat on the
going
back.
last. It's got to be big.
Yeah.
Better be good, Kris.
Just wanted to go
Well,
last.
dang. I don't know how I can compete with pizza. Sheesh.
Hey, my
And
mom
actually,
is
that
very
smoked
important.
that smoked salmon, that's got potential.
Darren's gotta deliver pizza to all of our houses after this is over. He's 3,500 miles away from my house, but I want pizza for dinner.
I love it. Let's hear
Well,
it.
my shout out is for Natives React number 17 by YouTuber Patrick is a Navajo. And we can put the link and contact information and all that in the doobly-doo. He and his friend, they start off with silly memes from the res type of thing.
Okay.
But they end the segment with a segment called Natives Do Cool or Unique Things. Here they show a montage of jingle dancers from all over dancing for everyone's health.
Oh, wow.
There's a guy giving free TP to people because of all of the overbuying and there's no TP on the shelves and everything. He's standing in a freaking snowstorm, like feet's worth of snow, with a sign "free TP" giving it out to people, and it's just
that's amazing.
That's hardcore. Snow. He's in snow.
Yeah, and it's just a general uplifting, positive message about people coming together to support each other.
Yeah. What are they called again?
Navajo on YouTube, right? Patrick is a Navajo.
And
We're gonna put his.
I'll throw the link up there for you and everything.
Yeah, we'll make sure the links in the description of the video, guys. Whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or any other platform that you may stumble across, because we're finding we reach more and more people every day. So we'll go ahead and we'll make sure we link to him, and we'll link to Mama Maria's, and we'll link to the grocery store workers, and we'll find some way to shout out Roya's mom and all the other healthcare workers. I don't know if she'd appreciate us like shouting her out on a public forum, but, but I will say that, you know, all of these people, you definitely deserve a pat on the back. So thank you for showing us why humanity is such a good thing and keeping the
You
world
all are
going.
awesome.
So that's our show for tonight. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, everybody who watches the replays. Roya and I will see you live on Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so if you're awake, like Kris and Darren on the East Coast or on the West Coast are awake and they've been watching our show, bless their hearts. We're so excited that they tune in. We want to see you then. We hope you have a great weekend. It is Arbor Day coming up. It is Earth Day coming up. So love the planet, love yourselves, stay safe, and don't forget to, as we always say, every show, remember to boss up! All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.